So welcome everyone. Sunday Night Huddle coming at you tonight. Thank you all for your time and for checking in with us here and spending some time with us. As we all know, well, first before we get to our topic for tonight, Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals. Just a reminder that all of the amazing deals that have been going on since Black Friday are continuing on through the end of the commission week, which is awesome. And we'll also go through all day tomorrow through Cyber Monday. So hopefully that will also provide a nice push and a nice boost to the start of our weeks this coming week. So continue, if you have folks on the fence, continue using follow-ups and utilizing these amazing deals to help folks get started. So with that, we all know that seasonality is a big thing in our business and in our industry. And there's no doubt about it with New Year's resolutions, with just people feeling, wanting to get healthy around the new year. It's a big time of year for us. 60% of our enrollments happen during quarter one. So January through March will account for 60% of our new enrollments throughout all of next year. There's a huge spike at the beginning of the year, and then it slowly trails off from a quantity standpoint of new enrollments. So new enrollments drive business. So with that in mind, obviously our focus is on quarter one. And if we wait until quarter one to take action and to really focus on those new enrollments, we've already missed the boat. If we wait till quarter one, it's too late. It ultimately has to start today. What we do today will work through the life cycle of prospecting and come to fruition in quarter one. So that's really what we're going to focus on over the next 6 weeks here on our Sunday Night Leadership Huddles. We're really going to focus on steps to take action. How do we prep for the new year? How do we prep for massive success following January 1st? And even leading up to that, there's no reason that we can't start having massive success and see that spike in enrollments and spike in business prior to January 1st. It's all based on the efforts and the action and the steps that we put in place today. So each week we're going to be uncovering a new topic to really prep ourselves for that January 1st push that we are all anticipating, and that typically happens in our business. So stay tuned, come in each and every week ready to learn something new on how to set yourself up for massive action and for really getting into momentum, because that's the name of the game, momentum. So tonight we're really excited. We just mentioned that enrollments are a key driver in our business. So tonight is all about enrollments and massive action, kicking off this 6-week program. We got 3 of our top enrollers on our entire team sharing their tips on what they're doing today. And then we also have Laura Brown speaking. She's been in massive action, so she's going to share with us specifically what she's doing to get her team into action, to take action steps herself to create success and momentum in her business as well. But let's start with Jamie Taylor. Would you mind kicking us off? Jamie's one of our top enrollers, and we're so excited to hear your tips for what you're doing and how you are constantly and consistently enrolling, because you're amazing at it. I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Yeah, hi everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. Grateful for all of you and all of the value each and every single one of you add to not only this team and these calls, but just to life in general. So hope everyone had an awesome Thanksgiving. Thanks, Matt. So I'm just gonna kind of rattle off just kind of some, I guess, nuggets that I've used over the course of the last 4.5 years. And for those of you that have kind of heard me train on enrolling and connecting, these are going to be nothing new. But that's the beautiful thing about this, is that everybody can do it, whether you've been with Isagenix for 2 months or you've been with Isagenix for 7 years. There really is no secret sauce to enrolling, truthfully. It's about expanding your network, adding value. I'm constantly striking up conversation with people at hockey practice, at Target. I've been doing some empowerment workshops, A, because I love them as a social worker, but B, because it's been a really beautiful way for me to take kind of my zone of genius and my talents and expand my network. So I've met some really amazing women specifically through these empowerment workshops over the course of the last 6 weeks. So go meet people, go do things and step outside of your comfort zone and really like hone in on your zone of genius and your gifts, and host things, collaborate with other entrepreneurs and other women in most of our cases, right? And use other people's networks to grow your Isogenics business and your friendship base. Number two for me, really, and I know I harp on this all the time, you guys, and social media. I'm telling you, like, I know that we kind of go through this phase where we think like social media is dead and it's so saturated, but you guys, the truth is 99% of my enrollments, and I'm not over exaggerating, come from social media. It's just showing up with full engagement and boldness and consistency, and not being afraid to like have an opinion on social media, which then creates a level of engagement from your followers, and just being consistent on social media. There was a post, I think it was Zach Slobin or somebody just recently posted like, you know, can you imagine if you had a storefront business and you only put up an open sign once a week, right? Like, who's going to come to your store? No one, you know? So just being consistent on social media has helped so much with engagement and enrollments for me. Thirdly, and I think probably one of the most important, which I think can be uncomfortable for some people, but again, it's a muscle that just has to be used and flexed, has been follow-ups and reach outs. You know, I don't know the total number of people I've enrolled over the course of the 4.5 years with Isogenics, but I do know that out of those hundreds of people, there's been one human being who has reached out to me and asked me to enroll in Isogenics. Meaning she was like, hey, I want to do what you're doing. Here's my credit card information. Everybody else I've enrolled, you guys, has been either me reaching out to them, me following up with them, me asking them to take a look, me creating a relationship and building a level of trust. So I love attraction marketing. I think it's great and it's a beautiful thing. But I think sometimes when we look at the concept of enrollments, sometimes we're not totally truthful about the fact that you have to do the reach outs. You have to do the work. It's very rare for someone to reach out to you and ask you what you're doing for multiple reasons. And I won't get into that. There's a pride issue. There's a I don't want to look like I need help issue. It's a lot of mindset behind the reason why people aren't reaching directly out to us. So reach outs and follow-ups. Showing up in your product page. You've heard me say this before. Show up as a leader. Show up as a leader. Post in your product page. Post in your business page. Share calls like this on your social media stories. People want to see you as an active leader and as someone who's like in it for the long run, right? And if you're not showing up, they're kind of like, is their open sign there? Are they not? Are they still doing it? Are they doing something else? Maybe I'll reach out to Jamie Taylor because she's showing up every single day, right? And so showing up in your product page and in your business page every single day will help immensely with enrollments. And then last but not least, I mentioned it already and I'll mention it again because it's hugely important, is consistency. So being a product of the product yourself consistently, social media consistently, follow-ups consistently, reach outs consistently, that is really the secret sauce. Is it's just a numbers game. You know, it's just like any other sales position, right? The more people you reach out to, the more people you follow up with, the more people you meet, the more you show up as a leader, it's going to increase the number of enrollments that you're going to have. And that's just the truth when it comes to network marketing, is it just comes down to consistency in number. So those are my tips. If there's specific questions, feel free to DM me afterwards. I'm happy to help in any way on enrollments, but those would be my simple tips on enrollments. Nothing that we haven't heard at a core event. It just really is being willing to put in the work consistently and showing up both outside of your personal page and inside of our product and business pages. And I'm so huge about that because it's so helpful for everyone when we all show up together.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you, Jamie. Appreciate it. I love it, love it, love it. Grow network, especially in your zone of genius. Social media is still key. Follow-ups and reach outs, key. Show up as a leader in your product pages, key. And the special sauce is consistency. Awesome. I love it. Thank you. And you guys, Jamie is magical when it comes to enrollments. Truly magical. So, and it's amazing. I love hearing just the simplicity with which you work your craft. So thank you for sharing, Jamie. Kimberly, our next massive skilled enroller. Thank you for being with us tonight. Kimberly, would you mind sharing some of your top tips for how you find success with enrollments as well?
I channel Jamie as much as possible. In terms of like, she just gives me, so the consistency is true, like, and I get ideas, and sometimes it's a copy and paste, and sometimes it's like, I just needed to use that another day. And so the consistency is definitely a big part of it, is just continually showing up. My big things that would, so obviously echoing everything Jamie says, and the other things I'll add is I do not sell shakes. I do not sell nutrition. I get to go change other people's lives. So stop thinking that we're selling anything, and this is an opportunity if people want it. And when I look at all the people that are on this call tonight, we know that, we experienced it. And I think sometimes when we've been in it for a while, we forget. They're like, oh, you sell it? And I'm like, no, I have such an awesome opportunity. I didn't know how bad I felt until I felt good. Like, just reminding ourselves some of those things sometimes, because we get so far into this journey that it's like, oh, I'm like, no, I don't sell this. I don't have to. Like, this is so awesome that this is what my job is. The other big thing is, for me, I have to remind myself to not make decisions for other people. So that's been a big thing. And when I think about that, is I have not met a single adult that tells me that they have all the energy and all the money that they want yet. Right? So they might kind of chuckle like, oh yeah, I've got it all. But right? I mean, there's just some people that, you know, that with more money, we can give more, we can do more, like in terms of we can build more schools and go on mission trips and do the things that we want to do, and just write the big check is the big conversation I've been having lately with people. Like, get to write whatever that nonprofit is that like makes your heart sing. Like, how cool is it when they say, okay, it's time to get the checkbook out, and be like, okay, I'm going to write the $10,000 check, the $15,000. So I keep reminding myself that everybody can benefit from this opportunity and not making the decision for people. And the other big one, and I see Sarah's on here, you know, I think we talk about it a lot when she and I go back and forth. Sarah Beekler and I are accountability partners, but I meet strangers. So Jamie talked about this too. I don't know my exact numbers, but if I think about in the past 3 months, I think I've had 10 enrollments, maybe a little bit more, but one person out of those 10 was a brand new person, like somebody that I just met, and she's like, I want to do this. And guess what? She's already returned her box in the first 30 days. Like, she was like, yep, I'm on board. The other 9 people I've known in my life, one person for 6 months, multiple people for 1 year, multiple people for 2 years. And then there was one person who'd been watching me since the beginning. So it's just that farming metaphor that makes a lot of sense in my brain. I told this story to somebody else the other day, that I used to be a farmer that would like plant seeds, walk away from the field, and then they weren't growing fast enough. So I'd dig them up and I'd go plant them in another field, right? So now I have to be the farmer that says, I plant the seeds and I turn around and I go to the next field, and I plant the seeds and I turn around and I go to the next field. And then I come back to that first field. And now, like, okay, now it's time to tend to those, or now it's time to tend to these. So there's people that, for those of us that have been doing this for multiple years, that have to be reminded that there's lots of people that are still watching us, and the number of people that will come back too. So I'm starting to experience that now. So now in my 4+ years, I'm having people who are like, okay, I'm going to do it again. I'm like, wow, I've heard about these things, but now I get to experience it. So just remembering, we don't get to make choices, or we shouldn't make choices for other people. Like, allow them to have this opportunity and to really just give them what they need. So I think the other last thing I'll leave this with is I stopped feeling like I had to, I mean, I love selling value packs. I came in, or helping people get started, helping people get started on a value pack, because I came in on a value pack, but I don't do that anymore. Now it's like, okay, well, what do we need to do to get you to 100 BV? What do you need to do to get to 120 BV? Whatever that is, so you can take advantage of the free enrollment, or like this weekend, free enrollment, free shipping and things like that. And I took my focus off of my PIB or what I was earning and started really finding out what would benefit that person. And if it's just shakes and ionics, or right now shakes, ionics, and BIA, I think it's like every mom needs that in their body. And then of course, that's where I can keep talking. But my neighbor just shoveled up in Duluth for the whole weekend and her back sore. I'm like, oh, you need repair. She's like, oh, I've got hydrate. I'm like, different. So I sent Chad over and took her, 2 scoops of repair to get it in her body. So just reminding people like that we can meet people where they're at, and not everybody is going to start on a value pack, and be okay with that, because the PIBs are awesome, but they can get in our way sometimes when we start thinking someone has to come in on a certain pack because of what we're going to earn, as opposed to how we can support people on what they need so that they can be successful. That's what I've got.
Awesome. Thanks, Kimberly. So if I can reiterate yours, your top tips, again, echoing Jamie, consistency is key. Focus on helping people, not selling. I love that. Because I agree completely. I mean, our what we do is we really help people identify their needs, and then we offer solutions that can help them, that we know can help them, and then it's just helping them understand that they need the solution that we have to offer as well. I'm not making decisions for people. I love that. Meet strangers, farming, cultivate relationships, and that reiterates so strongly why taking action today is so important in order to reap that crop in first quarter, because that's when planting the seeds today will, and getting Isogenics planted in people's minds when they're ready to make that life change come New Year's resolution time. That's when they're going to be ready. That's when they're going to be like, oh yeah, Kimberly talked to me about this a month ago. And she even gave her numbers. I mean, 1 month with her recent enrollments, I mean, a couple of them were 1 month relationships. A couple were 3 month relationships. The one person that was an immediate stranger, retention wasn't there. And that's okay too, because that was a great step out of the comfort zone. Everything great happens in the uncomfort zone. But that won't always happen with everybody who may be an initial enrollment with an immediate meet right now, if that makes sense. But yeah, and then focus on meet the need for enrollment. I love that as well. Meet the need, which is great. So thank you so much for sharing your tips and your genius with us as well. Lastly, we have Tammy Schultz, and Tammy is a third amazing, very talented enroller who has a lot of great value to add. And so we're really excited to hear from you as well, Tammy, and I'll hand it over to you now.
Perfect. Can everyone hear me okay? Awesome. Yeah, everything that they said, yeah, do that. The only things that I can really add to that, one is continue to be a product of the product. And if there is anything that's gotten people to resonate with my story, is when I share like my struggles. I put a post out there about like being totally like bloated and distended, and like people just, wanted to know about that, and to feel like, oh, someone like her can still feel like that and look like that. And so I think being vulnerable is really, really important, because people need to know that you don't need to be perfect on this program, and that you can slip up and that you can get back on track. I think that stuff is really, really huge, but then to be, a product of the product, to show like this stuff really works when you consistently put it in your body. And I think that's a message I've been pretty good at sending, is this is what I do every day, like no questions asked, but still being really flexible. So that's probably a big one as well. And just keep loving on people no matter what, and everything that they said. And I loved, the farming thing of like, the kind of cultivating around. Just this week, I had someone reach out to me that I reached out to 4 years ago when I first got started, and was just like, no, never really seemed interested. And her message was like, okay, I'm tired of being tired. What do I need to do? It's like, and I would randomly, if I had an event in her area, I would invite her, but that was really about it. But I just kind of kept circling around, or I would send happy birthday messages, nothing directly about, isogenics or anything like that, but just to keep dripping on people and keep loving on them. So that way, when they are ready, that you're the first person they go to. And that was kind of the case with this woman. So that was cool. It's great when they come like that, but it feels like that was a really easy sign up, but it's like, wait, that was 4 years in the making. So, and that's a lot of how mine are, is that people all of a sudden just pop up. So don't get upset or worried or any of that kind of stuff if people don't get started with you right away, because oftentimes maybe it's timing isn't right. And I think for a lot of us, we can probably relate, is that, I mean, I watched Christine for 2 years, and then I still took 6 months to research it before I got started. So sometimes just respecting that timing is everything, and keep loving on them, because you never know when that's going to come around and they're going to be ready. So that's another big thing, is just finding those little ways to stay connected. If it's just commenting on a post, because I think we all know, like, we love it when people actually comment on our posts instead of just liking or loving. It's nice when someone like actually comments. So if if you're trying to schedule your social media time, like making sure that there's something that you're doing to kind of plug in and love on those people. I think those little things are huge, and they just make you feel good too, right? I will say though, when it comes to like actually enrolling, like someone has messaged me like, okay, I'm ready, or just wants to know more about it. When I'm talking about the packs, I think some language that has helped me, because some people like want to get started on the shakes, and I still need to get into that. They don't have to start on a 30-day, but I also know, like, in my heart, like, I just know they're going to get the best experience that way. So some of my language around that has been like, you can absolutely start with shakes 100%. And so my analogy is like, if your goal is to get in the water on a hot summer day, like if you want to like kind of dip your toes in and like slowly get in the water, you're eventually going to get there. It's just going to take you a little bit longer. So you're just going to adjust your expectations of how long it might take you to get there. And if you're cool with that, I'm cool with that. But if you're someone that like you're going to be like cannonball, dive into the water, and you need to see and feel results like in a short period of time to stay motivated, then I would really encourage, the 30-day, because that's where you're going to get that big splash. So it's just whatever you feel like you personally need, whatever your expectations are, like we can totally match that. And so it doesn't make me feel like I'm pushing that 30-day, but it lets them know, like, you know what, I am that somebody that needs to see results really fast, so maybe I do want that. Yes, it sounds easier to start with a shake, and that would be easing it in, but I really want the faster results. So I think that's kind of what's helped me enroll people on 30-day systems versus just shakes. Although there's nothing wrong with that either, but that's just been some language that's helped me feel comfortable with it. Because sharing this, and I never want people to feel like I'm upselling them, but that was just a way like, no, that actually makes sense, because it's true. Like if you just want to start with shakes, it's going to take a little bit longer for you to notice a difference or to feel a difference. It's going to happen. It's going to be great, convenient nutrition. But I think anyone that's kind of asking about this or wanting to know more about it, like they want those like faster results. So I think that's a way that's been helping me kind of put that out there for them and just helping them understand. So I'm trying to think what else. I don't know.
That's all right. You're great.
Okay.
Thanks, Tammy. I appreciate it. Just to summarize real quick again, be a product of the product. Tammy's top tips. Be vulnerable, especially on social media. People connect really well with that. Even when sharing our 30-second story, the piece about vulnerability, about the pain points is what is the most important part of your 30-second story. That connects the most. Continually love on people, stay connected, and language and verbiage is really, really important when talking with people and helping them get started. Thank you so much for that, Tammy. And guys, what I would reiterate, just in one of the big things that I took from all three of these ladies is confidence and posture. Each one of them is so rock solid in the way that they talk, the conviction that they speak with, and their posture as they present this is so deep and so strong. So get to that place where your posture and your confidence is right there. So Amanda, I apologize I went long, but I'm gonna hand it over to you now.
You're good. Thank you. Thank you guys all so much for sharing. Awesome. I have so many more notes that I just am excited to use. But at the same time, some of them are still the basics. And I love that. Like mastering the basics of this business is so key, and to stay with the basics at the same time, right? I love that. So again, thank you all so much. I'm excited to introduce Laura Brown. A lot of you may have met her at Celebration. I feel like Mandy Folk should be the one introducing her, because she's the one that brought her onto our incredible team. But Laura, will you start by sharing a little bit more of your story to start so people can just learn more about you and how you got onto this team and how you got kind of roped into Celebration, but man, we had fun.
Sure. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yep.
Cool. Matt said something about posture and I noticed myself like sitting up straight. So I see we don't have a lot of time left, so I'll try to hurry, but as far as getting
no need to rush. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
As far as getting roped into Celebration, Mandy and I went to college together, and she basically just reached out to me about Isagenix at one point, and we talked a little bit about the products and the opportunity via Instagram messaging, but never really went anywhere. We just kind of chatted back and forth a few times, and then randomly I'm sitting at work like a month later and I get this text from her that's like, crazy idea, but would you want to hop on a plane with, and go to Nashville and go to this big event? And at the time I had never tried an Isagenix product in my life. I knew very little about the company. What I did know was that Mandy was just an awesome person, extremely authentic. We weren't best friends or anything in college. In fact, we didn't really hang out that much, but I always really enjoyed her. And I had kind of watched her on Facebook and just seen her lifestyle with Isagenix. And I honestly was just kind of pumped to go on like a fun girls trip. So I think I had a little bit of what do you call it, Amanda, FOMO?
Yes.
I was kind of like, oh God, this is really stupid. I shouldn't go on this trip. What am I getting myself into? And then part of me was like, you know what? I don't know what I don't know. And it's not that expensive to go. And it was like, if I don't go, I might miss out on something really cool. So why not? Right. So I did. And I think that experience has really propelled me, because I actually tried my first Isagenix products when I got back to Kansas City. I did have an enzyme while I was there. Amanda was handing them out at the restaurant. But other than that, I didn't actually start trying the products till I got back to Kansas City, and then really loved them, had a good experience with them for a couple of weeks myself, and then felt really confident to be able to go and talk to other people. And I think because I came at it from a totally different angle, I have no fear about just asking somebody like, hey, do you want to go on this trip with me? And it might seem totally random, but I think even if somebody says no, there's going to be that small part of them that has that fear of missing out. So there's going to be that small part of them that's like, ooh, maybe I should have gone on that trip. And then when they see your pictures on Facebook later and they see all the fun you had on Instagram and all of that, they're going to be like, oh, maybe I should have done that. And so I think that's a possibility, like in the future, that person might go if you ask them again. So people always ask me, how did Mandy get you to go on that? I'm like, she asked me, it's pretty simple. So, and honestly, had I not decided to, or had I decided not to go, I would not have thought any different of Mandy for asking me. I wouldn't have thought she was crazy or anything like that. I was actually kind of flattered, like, oh, that's really cool that she thought I would be good at this. So I think that's just something to keep in mind when asking people, that they might actually just be flattered by the fact that you thought of them. So I don't know, Amanda, you had asked me to talk a little bit about enrollments. I see it's getting past time here, so I'm not sure if you want me to go into any of that or not.
Yes, for sure. No, so a thing about her story, you guys, is we met her at the airport. We stayed in a room of 5. Like, it was not like this perfect, like it was just her and Mandy in a room. Like, we crammed in 5 people. We didn't even know there's gonna be an extra couch that was in that room, so we didn't even have to like have someone on the floor. Like, we just did it, and we had a lot of fun. And I love her story because it was just Mandy, just a bold ask. Like, she saw Laura had been watching some of her stories. They hadn't seen each other in a long time. I couldn't even tell you how long the time was between them, but I love that it was just that bold ask. And I think, again, the 20 seconds of insane courage thing is so true, right? And the fact that if she would have said no, she wouldn't have thought anything different of Mandy. Like, I just puts it in perspective, as a lot of us are preparing for NYKO, right? A game-changing event. So Laura, with your story though, I want to take a little bit extra time because there's so many valuable nuggets in your story, because you came home and you really got into massive action. And being that you're in Kansas City, a lot of people haven't really necessarily seen everything that you have done, but it's pretty incredible. So share a little bit about, you started using the products, sharing on social media. You had a sip and sample like within like a month. I don't know, share a little bit about that and how you set it up and how you invited.
Okay. Yeah, as far as sharing on social media, one thing I wanted to do was share more of a lifestyle than just having like product images blasted at people every day. So Christine, Brennan, I think you're on this call somewhere. I love you. I follow everything that you do and I just copy it. But honestly, I don't put a lot out there that says isogenics this, isogenics that. I don't have a lot of pictures of canisters of shakes or things like that. I might have a picture of me sitting in the sunroom right here, drinking my shake, saying, enjoying a shake on a Saturday morning or whatever, because I want people to see my lifestyle and be like, I want that. I want what she has. So I focus a lot on that. And then as far as inviting people to events, I decided that I wasn't going to just like blast out a Facebook event and be done with it. I go in, I see who's viewed the event. If somebody's viewed it and they haven't responded, I usually, give them a little space, but I actually create like another little image or something, invite that I'll text out to them later, or I might send them a message in Facebook Messenger, and then I actually link the event in that message that, just says, hey, I just wanted, I play dumb. I act like I didn't know that they viewed it already, or if they haven't viewed it, I'll send them that link in Messenger. So I just try to really have that touch point with them. And then, like I said, sending it out via text as well. And like to my family members, my very first event, I just was like, hey, I'd really love for you to come and support me. It's not about coming and buying everything I'm selling. It's like, come support me, see what I'm doing, learn a little bit about it. So, and then just consistency with that. And that's really come from Amanda and Mandy sharing with me. I think I got a little bummed out. One of my friends and I hosted an event and we didn't have a good turnout. And I got a little bummed out about, oh my gosh, we don't have that many people coming. And they just told me, they said, don't worry about it. It's not about always bringing new people. It's about building the community with the people that you are talking to and just helping them learn more about isogenics and how it can benefit them in their lives, and everybody there sharing their stories with each other. So it was great feedback, and I've just taken that really to heart. And so now I just don't focus so much on how many new people are going to come. It's just, loving on the people that I'm already talking with and making sure that they have a really good experience, because if they don't, then what was it all for? I want them to meet their goals and feel great. So one of the things I've done is we've been doing some like pop-up shops and things like that. And so I know you can't really see this, but like this was the group challenge that I'm running. So I'm doing one like in December, January. And then I was kind of like, if you want to do both challenges, here's the deal. But I try to do a form on the back of everything. So at every event I try to have some kind of form, and I literally have like the credit card information, everything here, just because I think it's so hard sometimes to just go in, even if you have a recommended cart, to get all that information in. So I just try to make it super easy. So as I'm talking to someone and they're like, yeah, I think I want to do this, I just start writing their stuff down. It's like, okay, let's get you going here. And then they're just kind of propelled into it. So, and then just one other sort of piece of advice is regarding just my job as a project manager. So I have to kind of nudge people all the time. That's what I'm doing at work. Just like, did you do the thing? Did you do the thing you're supposed to do? Did you do your thing? Like, it's just a constant follow up with people. So I find myself doing that with isogenics. And one of the things I've realized lately is some people actually need you to push them a little bit. So I think I wrote this down because I remembered it, but I didn't want to forget it for the call. But Zach Slobin said at Celebration, he said, don't just get out of your comfort zone, get out of theirs. And I think that's who said it anyway. But I think it's so true. And I was just talking with someone over Thanksgiving, and I realized that this is like the 4th time that she's asked me about Isogenics, and she's just been kind of like, oh, you know, a little scared. And I realized for the first time, it's like, she needs me to tell her to do this. She's having trouble making that decision on her own. So I think you have to read the person and sometimes tell them, like, you need to do this. Like, you're gonna love this, and you should do it. And there's other people that don't want to be told. They want to feel like they're making that decision for themselves. So just kind of reading where they're at and meeting them there.
Yeah, I love that. I love all of that, because you're not just sending out the invite, you know, you're very, very, very high touch. And I think that is even with your product users, and even with the people that have expressed interest. Maybe share a little bit more behind the scenes with how you have kept in touch with your product users, and also the people that have expressed opportunity, or I guess interest in the opportunity. You haven't just sent them a link, right? I mean, you've actually taken that extra step to take time to meet up with them, and share a little bit about that too.
Yeah, well, at every time I sit down to talk to somebody about like a 30-day system or something, I bring this little folder with me, and inside the folder, I've sort of mapped out like how I have that conversation. But at the end of that, I always show them this. I'm sure you guys recognize this form. And I don't go into great detail about it. I mean, I just start with Isogenics has a great referral program, and I just kind of leave it at that. I just talk about if you share with 2 people. But the fact that this is in there and they can see all of that information, a lot of times that, you know, there's some questions like, okay, well, that's just 2 people. What about more? So it's just kind of planting a seed. And obviously my goal is for them to just get their products for free, right? If they can do that, then great. They just got their products for free. But if they are interested in more, then I usually try to, like, I've created a packet that's more specific to that person. And I've got, you know, I know, Amanda, you have some of your own info that you and Matt have put out. I just put out something that I thought worked for me, but it was like 12 steps to success. And it's like, you know, how to become an associate, check, you know, how to download the IsoLife app, check, you know, IsoBuddy challenge, watch the Emily Vavra video on the art of inviting. That has been key for me. I use that over and over and over when I reach out to people. I thought of you because this, if I would you. So I've added that to the checklist, and just basically giving people that packet, so then they're in a good place to kind of go do all the things that when I got back from Celebration, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to learn all this stuff? So to try to help them learn it, and then just meeting up with them, helping show them how to do things. I work in software, so a lot of the things that I'm accustomed to doing every day with computers and Facebook and all that stuff comes very naturally to me, but I know that it doesn't come naturally to everyone. So just kind of helping them with the things that they're struggling with, but also really appreciating their talents, because they bring a lot of the things to the table that I don't. So.
Yeah, so good. Okay, and last thing, and I guess I didn't even ask you to share this, so I hope you're okay, is your why. And I think this is something that Laura definitely clung on to at Celebration, and really just understood that event. You guys, as you all know, you've all, for the most part, everyone on this call has been to an event and can really put yourself in the seats of someone that's brand new, very first time at an event. You're seeing all the things, and you start thinking and dreaming, right? And I think that is what the event also helped her do right from the start. That is sometimes hard to get people to dream right from the start. So, and I think that also helped, and I guess you can tell me if I'm wrong too, you can call me out, but I think this is what helped Laura share that with her people right from the start. She's very bold with when she's enrolling people, or even at her sip and samples, she's always sharing her why. And again, it's the people that are there know, love, and trust her. So they share a little bit more about how you do that and what your why is. Because I think that's very powerful with people seeing the opportunity.
Yeah, my why basically, I'm not sure who said it at Celebration, but somebody made the comment, if if you didn't change a single thing in your life, where would you be 10 years from now? Would you have accomplished the things that you want to do? Will you have, the things on your vision board, so to speak? And I sat there in that audience, and that was like the most powerful thing that somebody said that entire time I was there. And I thought, I have a great job. I have, a nice house. I have, it's not like I have a terrible life, but no, the answer is no. I will not have accomplished the things that I want to do. And I don't see anything changing there. So then the next question is, what is your vehicle? What is your vehicle to accomplish those things? And I sat there again, and I'm like, I don't have a vehicle. And so it's like, could this be my vehicle? And I decided to take a chance on it. Obviously, it seemed like a really great company, great opportunity, and it just fits my lifestyle. And I love that, there's so many things out there, network marketing companies, and it's like, I feel like you've got things like Mary Kay or whatever, and that they have a very specific audience, but I feel like this has such a wide reach, and it's every age, it's every gender, and it's just something, obviously, health that impacts everyone. It impacts healthy people, it impacts not healthy people. I mean, just everybody needs wellness and health in their life. So I thought this is a really great vehicle. And so, yeah, and the short-term why for me is to pay for my daughter's high school. She's going to a private high school next year, and she, it's $10,000 a year. And so my short-term goal was just, if I can make an extra $10,000 a year at this, then I've met a goal. And then obviously, once I do that, I'll have another goal. But that's so that's my why. Additionally, just I love the weight maintenance part of it. I didn't go into it to lose weight, but I haven't stepped on a scale more than twice since I started Isogenics, and that's just been amazing because I was so attached to that stupid scale beforehand. So.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all the things. And thank you guys all for staying on a little bit late tonight. We have a lot to cover truly in the next 5 weeks now until until after Christmas, until the new year. And so I wanted to, these calls might be a little bit longer than normal, but we're going to try to cram them in. But so much goodness. Thank you guys all for tuning in tonight. Laura, was there anything that you wanted to say that you didn't get to say?
No, thanks for having me talk. I hate speaking in front of people. So.
Oh, you guys, she doesn't even like Marco Polo. I got her Marco Polo, and she's like, I'm just going to look the other way. I love it. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And Tammy, Kimberly, and Jamie, thank you all so much. Have an awesome night. And remember, Cyber Monday, the deals go through tomorrow. So awesome. Good night, everyone.
Night.